All right. So, one of the things that I've noticed coming from a half Christian, half atheist upbringing, where when I was raised Christian, I was told that Satan is just evil and a bunch of bullshit that didn't really make any sense at all. But essentially, they were just teaching me when I was Christian that in the type I was in as a child, that Satan is just the opposite of everything that God is, and that Satan is just bad and evil, and it didn't really make any sense. Then, when I was deconverted and raised atheist, I was told that God and Satan don't exist, none of it's real, none of it matters, and to just avoid it, and essentially was just taught to bury and suppress and try and just cut myself off from the other part of my childhood and just dissociate from it because it doesn't exist and it's not real and it doesn't matter. Whatever. And then when I started doing witchcraft and sorcery and I realized that I do believe in demons, I do believe in Satans, I do believe in jinn, I just started hanging out with them and talking to them, and I realized that I vastly prefer their company to humans. Um, and so then I was thinking about it, and I'm like, there tends to be this idea that because people don't treat demons seriously, and because people don't treat people who work with demons seriously, there's this weird idea that, like, oh, well, if you really were a wizard or if you really did work with demons, you wouldn't tell anyone about it, right? There's like this idea that, oh, you can't be openly an occultist talking about Satans or talking about your relationship with Satans because no one will take you seriously. And it's like, okay, but like no one took me seriously either way. Like, no one took me seriously when I was an atheist, no one took me seriously when I was a Christian. I've never in my entire life been taken seriously. So yeah, why would that change now that I'm working with demons? Like, I don't care. I don't fucking care. I just want to work with demons. And I just think it's like there's this idea because of how the occult is hidden and by its very nature is hidden. There's this idea that if you're open with it, that it somehow makes you less legitimate or it makes your experiences less legitimate. And I definitely don't agree with that, but I also don't agree that just because someone is visibly talking about this stuff that makes them more legitimate in any way than someone who isn't being open with their faith. Like, I'm sure there's probably plenty of occultists and people out there that have very meaningful relationships with the Satans and don't talk about it. There probably are people out there who do not talk about it because, for one thing, I have the privilege of, in the USA, there is spiritual freedom here where I'm not going to be fucking, uh, it's not illegal to practice witchcraft here. It's not illegal to practice demonolatry here. I am legally allowed to openly say that I work with demons and Satans without risking my safety or life and just saying that. Whereas in some parts of the world, if you say that you work with demons, jinn, Satans, you can literally be executed. Like, there are still places today where being caught with a witchcraft book can lead to you being jailed or killed. So it is an immense privilege even to be able to openly talk about these things. And obviously, like, if you talk about these things, people are either going to think that you're lying, crazy, delusional, things I get told, or they think that, if they do believe you, they just think you're evil and they just write you off as evil, because they don't understand that these things are not evil. Um, and then people just see you as bad, essentially, either way. But it's like, I already was being excluded my whole life anyways, and that's part of what drove me to working with demons. I was already told that who I am as a disabled person, who I am as a queer person, would never be acceptable or okay under capitalism. I was already told that who I am as a transgender, gender fluid person, that who I am as a disabled person with autism and DID and multiple personalities, that this somehow puts me at odds with this stupid fucking plastic world of bullshit that I live in. And I was told that these things make me demonic, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna actually study demons then talk to the demons and see what they're like, since I've been told my whole life that for existing that somehow makes me demonic. I'm like, okay, I'll just actually get into that then and see what it's like. And I'm like, well, the demons are fucking awesome. They actually accept me. They don't give a shit that I'm queer or disabled or autistic. That doesn't matter to them. So it's like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking work with them then, since they treat me better than humans do, comparatively.